public speaking, and we want them to, because our final action is to empower them to become candidates, to get involved, to sit and run for elections and do the heavy lifting of working to make Collin County a better conservative place. So thank you for your time. I hope you're interested in joining us. We can send you lots of information about these exciting events. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. As you can see, we have some great clubs here in Collin County, so feel free. There's also the GOP has a table out there as well. Feel free to step out after the meeting and visit with anybody about any club that you may want to join or get some more information. Right now, it is my pleasure to welcome our keynote speaker, Victor Avila. He is a retired special agent with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement as ICE, and his job was to enforce federal laws governing border control, customs, promote homeland security, public safety. He has served in El Paso in their field office there. He also was assigned to the U.S. Consulate's office in Juarez, and that is a very dangerous place, as you know. He has conducted international criminal investigations on narcotics, arms trafficking, human smuggling, counterterrorism, served in U.S. embassies over in Spain, Portugal, and Mexico. He's received numerous awards, too long to take up his whole hour of speaking here. He's been featured on Fox News, all the good channels, One American News, Newsmax, and on the radio. But most importantly, he is a survivor of a drug cartel ambush in which his partner was killed. You're going to hear about that tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He's an author, as you heard earlier, of Agent Under Fire, A Murder, and a Manifesto, which is a must-read, and he will have it out there on the table if you'd like to purchase it. Please help me welcome a real life survivor, Special Agent Victor Avila.
Let me know if you could hear me okay with the mic. Yes? It's an honor to be here with you tonight amongst some great patriots. It always feels good to be amongst you guys, and I have a lot to share. I'll start with sharing my story, and obviously we're going to talk a lot about the border. We're going to talk about the border, not how it was just 3 months ago, but how it is today. And I've been going down the border, and I will share a lot of videos and stories of what I've seen firsthand, but I'll share my story with you first.
Victor Avila from ICE. We got shot. We got shot. We are on the highway at Querétaro, Mexico. We've been shot and attacked on the highway. I am an ICE special agent.
What is your name, you said, sir?
Victor Avila, police call Terry Miles. I don't know another phone.
So what did you
Please call Terry Miles. We've been shot on the highway.
Highway? What is the highway, sir? Where?
Mexico, Querétaro. They know what I meant.
Okay. Try to remain alive, please. That was February 15, 2011. A little over 10 years ago. Special Agent Jaime Zapata and I were ambushed by the Zetas cartel on Highway 57 on what I call a botched assignment. It was a horrific day, despite being a beautiful day. A gorgeous day, 72 degrees on February 15th. That's one of the perks of working in Mexico, was the weather. We got sent to Monterrey direction from Mexico City to meet our counterparts from the Monterrey office. This whole thing was to go pick up some equipment, some boxes. These boxes contained electronic surveillance equipment, tracking devices that were going to be used for this huge money laundering case that ICE, or the U.S. Customs Service, as you can recall, that's what we were before we became ICE, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. There's a big money laundering case that was out of Colombia. Mexico got in on it. We seized a bunch of money, like $40 million in cash in a container. And frankly, my supervisors were clouded, I think, by that. A lot of the questions that I have 10 years later have not been answered. have not been answered by the Biden administration. I say Biden because he was there, or the Obama administration. And that could be a whole hour-and-a-half presentation of how that administration failed my family and I after being shot. So I questioned the assignment. The assignment came on February 14th on Valentine's Day. I had just arrived back in country from investigating another case. The office in Mexico City at that time was the busiest ICE office in the world. And I had just arrived, and my whole purpose of that week was to go in on Monday morning and do a lot of administrative work. I had to do a bunch of reports. Everything that an agent does has to write down. I think the sheriff knows this very well. If you didn't write it down, it didn't happen. And so that was my whole intention. I had a to-do list that I actually still have saved up in my attic that I wrote that morning. And it was a long one. But right about noontime, a coworker of mine gives me a heads up and says, hey, they're going to send you to Monterey. And they sit my top. And I might have used some foul language I'm not going to use it here tonight. And I said, wait a minute. There's other agents here. Why am I going? I just got here. I had been out almost 7 days. I hadn't seen my family. I got in at 1 in the morning and I'm back in the office at 9 in the morning. And I said, this can't be it. What's going on? And sure enough, after lunch in Mexico, after about 3 o'clock, my supervisor calls me in, gives me the assignment and says, I need you to call and coordinate with the ICE agents from the Monterey office. Now, Mexico City to Monterey is an 11-hour drive. And he says, you need to go pick up some equipment. So I naturally, as an agent, there's a lot of things that have to happen in Mexico. I've driven down that highway many times. I've escorted agents out of there. Every time I do that, we have other law enforcement agents escort us back to Mexican federal police, the military. Why? Because Mexico is a dangerous country. And so we always have to do these operational plans, and we have to coordinate. But that was never afforded to me. They said, by the way, you're going to take the TD wire. The TD wire we refer to as a temporary duty assignment agent, which was Special Agent Jaime Zapata, who had just arrived in the country a few days before. And so you're going to take him so he can help you drive. I question it. I get on the phone with our agents from Monterey, and I say, what's going on? And of course they tell me, okay, this one here.
Yes.
Oh, that's better, huh? I have to spring on. Thank you. And so I talk to the assistant attaché in Monterey, and I tell him, hey, what the heck's going on? He's like, you know what? There's been a lot of firefights between the Zetas, the military, and the federal police on Highway 57. We knew that they controlled that corridor. We knew that that was the intel. I mean, what do you think we do in Mexico, right? That's what we're doing. We share this information with the Mexican government. And so I'm telling and you're going to hear me say this, and you're going to notice in my tone and my voice today and my passion, I'm unafraid. After I went through, I'm unafraid, and I tell you how it is. My supervisors were incompetent. Incompetent for many reasons. For being afraid, for not wanting to do the right thing, because it's important to, in politics, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, is being able to make the hard right decision, right? How many people have had, our elected officials have had the opportunity to not do that? They always make the easy wrong one. That's what my supervisors did that day. They did the easy decision, the wrong one. And so I get on the phone and I say, listen, what's going on? They're giving me the intel. My supervisor's listening to it. I said, let's get this, the deputy attaché, which is my supervisor's supervisor, and the attaché, the head of the office. And let's tell them, let's remind them, because I say, why don't we dip pouch these boxes? In other words, bring them through a diplomatic pouch, which is how we bring everything into Mexico, a secured vehicle, a helicopter, a van. That's how we usually bring things in. Oh, no, we already went through all that. They had already discussed this, they had already briefed this months before. This is February, and they've been talking about this since December. But those in the law enforcement world, if you know, if you're not present for the briefing, you can't play. And I wasn't present for the briefing. I never got a briefing. They never did. They never shared all the intel that I needed. And so I'm trying to get it all at once there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Valentine's Day. And so they do. My supervisor, it's a very small office, the ICE office in Mexico City. And I make him go knock on the door because the deputy attaché and attaché are in the meeting behind closed doors. And he goes and knocks on the door. The deputy attaché comes out, Anthony Salisbury. I don't use his name on the book because I don't think it was necessary. But I do call him what we used to call him in the office. We called him Blue 52 because he looks like Peyton Manning. 6'5", tall, Blue 52, hike the ball. One of my coworkers nicknamed him Blue 52. So that's what we call him. So Blue 52 comes out. My supervisor, I'm standing here, my supervisor's standing there, and Blue 52 is standing right there. And my supervisor's telling them, listen, we're hearing all this intel. What's going on? And these are his words. And I quote them in the book, and I'll quote them until I die. He said, I'm not aware of any security issues in this country. Now, when your boss says that to you,